Hey everybody, what's up? Brian here from Digital Escapist Network. I wanted to do a follow-up video to No Man's Sky because I've been playing for a little while. But I want to title this video, Why I Didn't Like No Man's Sky for the First Couple of Hours of Play but Love It Now. So I just wanted to preface this video by saying I did pre-order it, and I did get the ship with the hyperdrive as a pre-order bonus. But I have not downloaded that code yet for that bonus for the hyperdrive, the ship with the hyperdrive yet. Sean Murray had come on saying, you guys, please don't do that yet. Go ahead and build your ship with the hyperdrive, as that's part of the tutorial missions. After that, if you want the new ship, go ahead and do it then. And so I would have to say, after playing, I completely agree with him to do that, not to download the code yet for the ship with the hyperdrive if you haven't gotten No Man's Sky yet. But by this point, I guess the pre-order bonus is already gone, so I guess the point is moot. But anyway, it is part of the tutorial. So let me get into why I didn't like the game at first. So in the beginning, the first couple of hours, I basically just wandered around and didn't know what to do. I mean, there's objectives, they come up on your screen, but I was having a hard time trying to figure out the controls, what the symbols on the screen stood for, where I could find my needed resources, what resources I needed for the upgrades, how to manage my inventory, which was a huge problem and still is, and actually found the whole game quite off-putting, which made me really, really nervous. So let me give you some examples so you guys can just see what I'm talking about. I'm not just being a baby griping about stuff. So to recharge various things, like your shield for yourself, and then like also your ship, you need plutonium. And plutonium is represented by a red bolt of electricity symbol on the screen if you perform a scan through your visor. Now, the first time I scanned, it tells you to scan, or that red symbol popped up. So I walked over to it from my ship, and that it was a plant, and that red symbol contained thamium. And I didn't need thamium. I was looking for plutonium. But at that point in time during the game, I didn't realize that the symbols actually stood for something else. The symbols actually stood for like a class of thing. So see, I thought that symbol alone represented thamium. So I spent 30 minutes to an hour just walking around looking for plutonium and finding it in places like leftover crates or barrels or whatever it is. Sometimes that you find next to like the little huts and stuff that you find. So anyway, randomly, I came across a crystal, and it had an electric bolt, and it was plutonium. And then I realized that the red bolt stood for recharge material, and not just for thamium or plutonium. And then I realized plutonium was actually all around. At that point, though, I was really, really far from my ship and needed it for a shield recharge. And when I got back to my ship, I didn't have enough for the plutonium to charge whatever it needed, for my ship, what I was trying to build, and I had to go back out hunting. There was actually none near my ship at all. Also, I kept seeing these beacon things that required like this blue chip to open, and I could craft it, but it just took up space in the inventory, and it didn't seem like there was any reason to do that. I mean, why would I? I wasn't curious enough at that point because I was trying to do the objectives. And it used up resources that I thought I would need, so I never used any of those beacons until later. But of course, I'll get to that. And speaking of hunting for resources, as another example, that kind of like a little bit of a issue I had, but not because the game is procedurally generated. My son and I are both playing. He's on a sub-account. And one of the early tutorial missions has you looking, trying to find this iridium, which is another mineral. I had to stock up on resources and literally walk or run. Run 5 minutes, walk 10 minutes in one direction to find mine all that I could, and then run back before I ran out of resources to charge my life support, charge my ship, and charge my shield and whatnot. Okay. In my son's game, his ship was actually parked next to a huge mining deposit of it, actually 3. So he actually didn't have to walk at all. I mean, that was okay. I mean, if it's going to be a tutorial mission, then I don't know. I mean, I guess they really can't control that, but it was kind of like, you know, he never had to experience any type of survival element, and I felt like my first planet, it was all survival, and like, you know, it was very difficult to find the things I needed. Also watching him play, I realized you could scan plants and minerals too. You know, I only thought you could scan animals, and so I literally missed the whole first planet's worth of plants and minerals, and except that I kept getting a reminder bar that stated that I had only got 4 out of 10 animals. It comes up and tells you, like in the very beginning, like a little pop-up thing telling you, well, okay, this is how many. So I had 4 out of 10 scanned animals. Well, that bar actually got stuck on my screen. So until just this update hit, or I guess it was maybe I just reset it or whatever. That bar was stuck on the bottom of my screen, reminding me, no matter where I went, reminding me that I had only scanned 4 out of 10 animals on my first planet. Thank you so much. Also, when I got to the first space station, you know, I had read some stuff that you wouldn't be able to understand any of the language, which was true. But you would just pick an option, and the alien would do something, and then, you know, you would just hope for the best. In my game, I couldn't pick any option, so I just walked away. Then the alien got aggravated, and when I tried to talk again, I realized that I needed carbon. But I didn't know I was going to need carbon, so I didn't have any carbon, so I couldn't talk to the alien again. And after fixing all of these problems, and finally warping, getting everything built, and warping for the first time, I warped my first time and the game crashed. So all of this, that crash culminated in a couple of very frustrating hours. And I honestly started to wonder whether all my expectations of this game were very wrong. Then I decided to change the way I was playing, and the entire game changed for me. I decided not to worry about the objectives anymore, just to explore. So, for the first time, I landed on a planet and used a blue chip pass on a beacon, and lo and behold, I came up with 4 points of interest I could select from. So, I crafted more passes, visited more areas. Now, on one planet alone, I learned 10 alien words, found blueprints for upgrades, and discovered around 75% of the scannable species. I was on this planet for over an hour and had an absolute blast. Loved it. I also, during this time, learned how to manage my inventory better. Limited inventory. I emptied the ship completely, except for the stuff I absolutely needed for warping or flying. And while I was exploring, I used the suit to ship transfer system to fill the elements up. I also got rid of crap I knew I could get elsewhere or wouldn't need, period, like animal poop. I mean, I haven't figured out what you need that for yet. Or thamium, which you can get on the planet, or you can just mine it from asteroids in space. My one continued quip with the inventory is that I like to hoard, especially if I don't know what I might use later. So, for instance, I mined a bunch of copper, but nothing I craft right now needs copper. I mean, I'd like to be able to keep it, since I found a ton of it. You know, I'd like to be able to keep it for later, but right now I'm just forced to sell it. Or maybe copper is an element you just gather to sell. I mean, I don't know. And so that's kind of my continued quip. Like, you don't really know. Are you going to need this later? Or is this just one of those mineable things? But anyway, like I said, I'm having an awesome time now. You know, but I'm playing it as an exploration game with some minor objectives, as opposed to an objective-based game with some survival slash exploratory elements. And that has made all the difference. Thanks everyone. Brian, Digital Escapist Network. Like, share, subscribe. Bye.